Better DJ bring it back, tell them play that shit again, tell them turn up the bass. Turn it up, better DJ bring it back, tell the DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back.
What's up, everybody? In today's video, I got the community manager for Pubg Mobile, Mr. Ocho. How are you doing, bud?
I am doing excellent. How about you, man? How's your evening going?
Well, I can't complain. We're all house sitting basically due to coronavirus. Have you guys stayed safe during these extremely trying times?
Yeah, no. I've been at home for about a month now on lockdown because I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area for the last three and a half weeks. So very used to it. I'm very fortunate that I'm working for a company that supports me, and I'm doing a role that I'm able to mostly do from home. What I really miss is watching Twitch streams. So I have this terrible internet connection. I believe you can sympathize.
I can.
And, my daughter loves watching, stream video. My wife loves watching stream video. My son loves watching stream video, which means that Twitch just doesn't work so well. So when I'm lucky and everybody's taking a nap, I can get in some Twitch time and watch some Pubg Mobile. But the rest of the time, it's pretty brutal.
Wow. Well, now, Ocho, tell these guys a little bit about who you are. You run the official Twitter and Instagram accounts, correct?
So I'm the senior community manager for the global community and channels. That means from a social media standpoint, I'm responsible for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, Discord. I also do the same role for Pubg Mobile Lite. And I'm responsible not only for the social channels, but also helping take the community's feedback and bring to the dev team in a way they can understand. Now, the dev team spends a lot of time reading customer feedback. I know because they ask me weird questions at 2 o'clock in the morning that only come from you. They're like, hey, what did somebody mean by this? But there's so much feedback. So
right.
I looked once, and we get a mention on Instagram, every 4 seconds on average, maybe less than that.
Yeah, I heard that on the Riggs channel, on the interview with Riggs, and I was pretty amazed at the numbers. They're pretty staggering, honestly.
Yeah. So given that there's such a large community and such a huge amount of feedback, it really helps that me and the team that I work with, my community team, can help filter out that feedback, identify it by category, provide backstory. Because how we refer to things internally is not always exactly the same way that you guys refer to things. So we can say, oh, they're not talking about this thing, even though they're using the same word. They're talking about this other thing. And making sense out of the mass feedback and bringing that.
Well, a lot of people, Ocho, complain about, I guess the response time with Pubg Mobile. I know you guys have a huge amount of volume, and you do the best you can with all of that incoming traffic, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as fast enough customer service.
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna say that, when you have a problem, you want an answer right away, right? So what happens is if you want a customer service ticket filed, you go into the game, you hit the button, you submit an issue, right? Now, bots are immediately going to respond.
Absolutely.
But what's happening on the back end is keywords are being looked for, right?
Right.
And that helps assign the ticket and file it down. And then that ticket, different tickets have different priority. If it's something that's easy to handle, that would be kicked up in priority because we can just turn those tickets out. If it's something really complicated, that's going to be a little bit lower priority because it's going to take a lot of one person's time or multiple people's time, depending on the nature of the issue.
Right.
So we can't just churn those out. We don't want a bunch of people who have really easy questions getting, held up because, there's a bunch of people with really hard questions that are going to take a long period of time. stopping them from getting any sort of response, right?
Right.
Now, then you have to figure out there's different kinds of issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain kinds of issues that are much more priority for us to fix. It could be that you're not able to play for one reason or another. It could be that you're trying to tell us about an important bug. Those issues are more important, right? So these tickets, because we use what we call a ticketing system, all get filed and prioritized, and the customer service team goes ahead and tries to tackle them, right?
Right.
So now we come to issue number 2. There is 100 million people playing this game.
Golly, man. Golly.
100 million. Our last announced number, and it's much higher now, for daily logins is 50 million.
Right.
So if 1 in 1,000 people has an issue, 1 in 1,000.
It's
That's
insane.
still
It's
a
insane.
lot of tickets.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and me as a creator and talking with you guys, I kind of understand that, but of course, some of my amigos, they've had some issues and got upset, I guess, with the turnaround on response. And I said, man, you got to understand, dude, these guys are swamped. I mean, they are doing their best, man, to keep track of it. I mean, it's just massive. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. And look, whatever our problem is, and our problem is, and I like to say this all the time, a great problem to have.
Right. Right.
If you have a game with 10,000 players, customer service isn't that hard.
Right.
I'm glad we have this problem, but your experience matters. And what our challenges are, don't. Because, when I call somebody, I had a problem with my cellular service provider, I'm going to blow them up because, I'm unhappy with the service I'm receiving, right? Now,
Right.
I understand they have lots of customers. They're a very big company. They, have all sorts of different, and my issue was like super weird. It was the sort of thing that was, really hard to handle. It was going to need to be escalated. Like your average customer service person wasn't going to be able to deal with it. And I was pissed,
Uh-oh.
and that's the thing is, whatever our challenges are don't matter, right?
Right.
It's what are your experiences, because we want you to be happy. We want you to enjoy your experience. We want you to get your problems fixed, So I always encourage anybody, look, when you have a bad experience, let us know and give us details and try and do it without too much name calling, right?
Right.
Now, the name calling isn't going to hurt my feelings, right?
True.
I'm used to dealing with these sorts of things. I've been a community manager for a long, long time, but when I have to show your feedback to senior executives and, it's a bunch of potty comments,
that ain't working.
it's going to be a lot less compelling. It's going to really not help me drive that message home. This is why we need to do better, right? This is the experience our customers having. All they see, and very reasonably, is someone telling them to F off and die, And so we get that it's frustrating. We get that it's hard.
Yeah.
But let us know when we need to do a better job. And that goes for everything,
Right.
We want to know how we can do a better job. For example, although, it's hard to see, the lighting on my interview right now is absolutely terrible because I'm doing it in a garage. We should do a better job with that. We have some challenging circumstances right now.
There you go.
But if you want to see better lighting for Ocho, let us know.
Hey, speaking of that,
without too much, profanity.
Speaking of challenging times, Ocho, I got a very important question. Did you get a haircut before the lockdown?
I did. However, my wife usually cuts my hair.
Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
Really convenient. I don't really rock the long hair. My hair right now is long. It's probably about 3/4 of an inch.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting ready for another trim. I like to keep it tight, keep it clean.
Do you remember the first time you seen me in LA?
Yes.
You remember I didn't have a haircut, right? I just went on that trip kind of like I couldn't get it in before, because of my work schedule, and I just went. Well, I'm probably 2 times that bushy right now. I mean, I came off an 18-day outage, and I was thinking I was going to get a haircut, and then lo and behold, coronavirus drops in, and I can't get a haircut. So I'm looking pretty rough right now, man. It's kind of rough.
I'm telling you, man. Clippers, a #2 guide. It's a beautiful thing. Never having to pay for a haircut again.
Right. Well, I'm gonna tell you, if things don't shape up pretty soon, man, I got a set of clippers at the house, and things are gonna happen. The Goon's beard is in jeopardy here in hair, so who knows what's gonna happen. But Ocho, let me get back to questions here. How would you describe yourself? What do you want people to know about Ocho that maybe they don't think about or know? Like who you are. I've talked with you. I spent a couple hours with you. Just one-on-one time, and I kind of felt you out as a person. But what would you want the public to know about you as a person?
Okay. Ultimately, why I do this job, and why I think most community managers do this job, because I don't know if you know this, it's not all glitz and glamour and flying around to LA. It's a lot of being sifting through comments on the internet that aren't always, super kind. The internet's a rough place.
It is.
But the reason I do this job and why I've made a career out of doing this is because, for me, what really matters in online games, any game where there's multiplayer, is not just the game itself. I mean, the game is why we're all connected. Right? We all love playing Pubg Mobile.
Agreed.
But so much of it is the friends we have, the people we've connected with. I don't know if you've seen, actually I do know that you've seen, because I saw your tweets, and I think I liked one of your tweets about it. The series of player stories we're doing
now. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you talk about like a dad and a son playing games together and learning to connect with each other over video games, I mean, that's awesome,
Agreed.
I have friends all over the world. I have friends in your neck of the woods and, even further up in them Dar Hills.
Right.
That I've met playing video games. And so we're here working every day to do what we can to make your experience better. And the more you can do to help us, the more we can do to help you. It's a beautiful thing, we need the feedback. We need the areas. What do you like? What do you dislike? Why do you like it? Why do you dislike it? So that we can make sure to do that more, so we can bring that feedback to the team and say, hey, they really love this and they didn't like this so much, and here's why, because then they can make better decisions on what they're spending their time on to do for you guys.
So I guess Ocho, to help you answer that question, you would say that Ocho yourself is a man of the people and has a heart for the community.
I do. I've done this 12 years. So like, to give you an idea, YouTube wasn't a thing, really, in any meaningful sense when I started. Facebook was college campuses only. I've done this for a long time, and there's nothing else in the world I want to do, because to me, this is what makes online games really, really cool. It's how they connect us. And so, again, it is my goal to do a better job for you. And every time something goes out and I'm like, oh, I should have given them feedback about this, or I should have told them about that, I want to do a better job. I want to do more to help you guys, because that's a win for us all, right? I mean, you guys get a better game to play that you guys are happier about. We do a better job. More people play our game. Great.
Agreed. And you do a great job at that, Ocho. I'm going to tell you, the amount of tags that you get a day for Pubg Mobile, the amount of feedback that you have to sift through is crazy. It's crazy, man. So another question, how long have you worked for Tencent?
So I started in Tencent right after the first anniversary. So I am coming up on my I'm coming up on my first anniversary, since we just had the second anniversary.
Okay.
You know, I started a little bit late. Sort of, they were looking for somebody to really come and help fill this role, who is familiar with doing it in a more Western style, Western social media. So they were looking for somebody with experience. They reached out to me and called me up. They're like, "Hey, Eric, are you interested in talking to us at Tencent?" And I'm like, "Cool. What do we want to talk about?" And you know, it worked out really nicely. I mean, who would not want to be a part of Pubg Mobile?
Exactly.
And it's, as a community manager, I mean, this is a job for me. So I don't always get to pick the games that I like to work on. It is, I play the games that my bosses tell me to play. I work on the games that my bosses tell me to work on, right? It's just like everything else. When you're going out there in the field, you're not like, "Oh man, this job seems way cooler than the one I've been assigned. I'm gonna go do that one." So it's really awesome to be a part of a game I love. I was a little, I've worked on other mobile products. I've worked on plenty of PC games. I've worked on shooters. I've worked on MMOs. But I was a little like worried, because I have some battle royale experience, and I'm like, how's this going to play on the phone? And then I played it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really, really good. The controls, the way the game flows, the feel. There's no float. I mean, it's so good. The team did such a good job, and so I'm like, oh well, I better get this job.
There you go.
So I'm super, super blessed to be able to work on such an amazing game, a game that I really personally enjoy, with a great community. Because as much as I like to make comments about how the internet is, PUBG Mobile as a community is actually really, really pretty nice. I mean, it's hard
I agree with
to
that.
see that from the ground level, because people get mad. There's drama. There's inter-streamer drama. There's community drama. There's esports drama.
Right.
But I mean, the PUBG Mobile community is really, really welcoming and accepting, and that's awesome.
Right.
And
we're going to get into that. Yeah, we're going to get into that later on in my questioning, because communities are definitely important in PUBG Mobile. But now let me just get to this. And what is your favorite part of your job? What is the thing you like the best doing? What is it?
I like trolling people on Twitter.
Oh man, you are savage at times, and it's hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, I really do it. I try to reserve it for people I know who are going to take it well.
Right.
Right. Certainly, I helped push the Monica happy birthday thing.
Loved it.
That was awesome.
Loved it. I love it. It's still funny. It's still funny.
My birthday again.
Yeah, it's still funny, man. That's still going, by the way. Still going.
Yeah.
And I love it every time.
So that's something I really love. It's unfortunate that I am less and less able to spend time actually writing responses these days.
Right.
I have a great team I work with. They're very funny. The savagery in our internal chat is off the chain. But, it's not my role to be responding to every single tweet. So I have a team that handles that more and more every day. And I miss it. I love just getting out there and chatting it up. I love dropping into people's streams. I love making jokes. I love having fun with the community. But there's ways that I can help the community more. And so my role is, Jesus, I just realized I have this total work from home beard. That is terrible.
Good.
Just on video today. I have a face for radio.
There you go, man.
It's that time, the personal reactions, the getting a chance to, see people in person and share that love, So we recently, within the last day or two, put out when we're filming this, put out a video featuring Mr. Flip and Isabella Fox.
Absolutely great. Watched it today, matter of fact.
And there's actually like a crazy backstory to that video, which goes back, it includes you.
Oh, wow.
Right? So, way back when we were filming these Superstar, I picked some community folks, including you, to come out and join us.
Yep.
And Mr. Flip was another one of the, community members I had pulled in and said, hey, come out here to California and show some pro ballers how to play PUBG Mobile.
Indeed.
And you guys showed a pretty, but, while we were there, Isabella flew out and she was in the green room with us, just hanging out,
Right,
I mean,
right.
spending some time with her boyfriend,
Right.
And so I met him and I'm like, wow, this is cool. This is a couple that have met playing video games. That's a good story,
Agreed. Agreed.
It's, I have friends who've gotten married playing video games, not too surprising since I work in the gaming industry. But it's always a cool story. Everybody has an interesting take. And I'm like, I bet they have an interesting story. I bet there's some other people that have interesting stories.
Well,
A couple months ago.
Well, I was going to say, I love what you guys are doing with those real life stories, man. Y'all need to keep that going. That's great, honestly.
It really is.
Right.
Getting that sort of content is really, really amazing. Last year we did a video called Mobile Battlegrounds, which was following some esports teams, and those were some great stories.
Right. I like those. I think we talked about those, matter of fact. I loved them.
So, doing more of that stuff is cool. Right now, traveling is sort of a problem. So, getting film crews out and stuff like that or flying people to LA isn't an option.
Right.
But that's something we want to do. Put that human face on your fellow PUBG Mobile players. Tell some good stories.
Agreed.
But anyways, so I'd had this idea in my head for 6-7 months. Hey, I need to do this video, right? So I flew Flip Fox, as I like to refer to them.
Flip Fox.
They had to have a celebrity couple name. So I flew Flip Fox out to California along with another couple. Not super secret, but we're not announcing it yet.
I know who it is.
Yeah. Talked to some other couples, considered other couples.
Right.
Other couples had great stories, but didn't just work out well for the timing, and said, hey, can you come out to California and we'll shoot a video? And we shot a video. It's great. It's a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth about multiple couples, and we canned it up. And then HQ is like, hey, we're looking for real life player stories. And we're like, hey, well, this isn't exactly what you're looking for, but here's some things. And they really like both couples. They ended up deciding to go with Mr. Flip and Isabella. And they flew a camera crew out to where they live,
right,
to film them, and that's really awesome. Being able to connect the love of the game to great things in real life, to the ways that this game can matter to people. That's awesome. That is my second favorite part of the job after trolling people on Twitter.
Well, I was going to ask you if you were a community manager before, but I think you answered that earlier in your questions, and I was going to ask you about the main focus, but we already know the main focus is community, I believe, for you. I mean, obviously there's other things, but you are very in tune to the communities, at least the 4 that I know of. If there's more than Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, let me know, because those are the ones that I know.
Oh, there's more. YouTube, Discord.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about Discord. I should have, but I don't really think it, because, I mean, Discord, it doesn't seem to be quite as active as those other communities. I know, you get the voice chats and all that stuff, but I've never really thought of it as that active community, kind of like the others, the other socials.
So Discord's really, really interesting. I work with them. I've gone up to their office a couple times. I have regular meetings with the guys over at Discord.
Right.
I'd have to check right now, but we're top 3 biggest Discords in the world for our official Discord.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice.
Going for number one. We're gonna get there. Some great competition, but I am all about that chicken dinner. So we're gonna get
Nice.
there.
Nice.
So we have our official Discord,
Right.
right? That's huge. Discord at that scale is crazy big, right? And it's this whole weird animal, and we have a really great moderation team that do a great job on the official Discord.
Agreed.
But more than that, right? So if you have a Discord, you can subscribe to our official Discord for all the news and announcements that are coming out about PUBG Mobile. And everything that gets posted in our news and announcement section gets imported over to your clan's Discord, or your fan Discord, whatever you want it to be. So it's actually a really, really good way to follow the latest news about PUBG Mobile.
Right, right. And I got your socials and videos and stuff in my server even. I mean, where anything that you guys, I guess, post on Twitter and other social hubs go through a section in there, But I never know if anybody actually reads that stuff, but apparently they do.
Oh, they do. It's.
I mean, in the Discord. I mean, I know you. I know they do on the others.
Every time we publish a message that is syndicated out,
Mm-hmm.
it goes to thousands and thousands of Discord servers.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
And the number of people who see it is immense.
Nice.
So
nice.
That's it. It's really cool, because I love, right. Twitter is very in the moment. It's a little bit less serious. Some people love Instagram. Some people love Facebook. Some people hate social media with the passion of 1,000 burning suns, and I can respect that. But they still want to know what's going on,
right?
Right. They're like, well, I don't want to know what's going on with PUBG Mobile. They want to know what's going on with PUBG Mobile. They just don't really like traditional social media for whatever reason.
Right.
That's cool. This is a way that's much less social media for people to find out the news. So it's cool. It's another option.
Right.
We have a great partnership with Discord. We have all sorts of interesting thoughts about things we could do with them, and cool. Our players certainly seem to love Discord. I mean, the amount of you guys who have Discord servers, Discord servers dedicated to your own personal groups. Again, when you talk about your Discord server with your fans, clans, all the types of ways that people have Discords, plus all the official Discords. There is like 15 official Discords, depending on like what language you want to speak. I mean, there's so many options for how you can meet and interact, share, find out the news for PUBG Mobile.
True, true. Now, speaking of PUBG Mobile, I do understand that you're a player. I've heard you talk about that in the past. Also seen you play with Bushka, I think, in one of your Q&As with him. Describe your style of play.
Snake. So
Snake. I hear you, bro.
Right. So I mean, this is me being real, right? I'm not fast.
Right.
I play thumbs, right?
Right.
For a while, I was like trying to learn the claw, and I was doing it, but I wasn't enjoying it. Right here, I'm showing you the camera. These are bifocals.
I got you.
Right. I'm not a young cat anymore, so I'm not going to win the Twitch game. Right. I'm not going to be able to outshoot.
Right.
Just go in guns blazing. I have much respect. You and Bushka, who are both right around the same age as me.
Right.
You guys just go. I mean, just balls out,
right.
Full send. No problems. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not fast enough. I'm not good enough, and I want to play at higher levels of gameplay.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I would just say that you probably can't devote as much time now. And with that being said, how much time do you average play? Because I know, your job is all kind of crazy hours. I mean, you don't just work a regular shift and then you're off. You might be off a little bit, and then all of a sudden something happens and you got to respond to it. So you probably don't devote quite as much time, obviously, as me and Bushka. So I wouldn't put yourself down like that, man. I would just say that you haven't devoted quite as much time as we have. to playing, the actual playing. Plus, I mean, me and Bushka are iPad players, and I mean, as we age, that does kind of help out. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm on the iPad Mini, no doubt.
I got you.
Let me pull it up. I average about an hour and a half a day.
Right.
I wish I had more time, but I like to tell people I'm only working when players are awake. And given that we're a global game,
Right.
that means that I'm working.
All the time. Yeah.
My phone does not stop glowing all night
No.
from notifications and people, needing something. A big chunk of the people I work with are based in Shenzhen, China.
Right.
So they start late. Another team I work with is based in Amsterdam. I'm working with a team in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and a team in Colombia. So that pretty much covers the entire globe.
Oh, wow. And by the way, I just got to tell you guys, I love the recent updates. Hardcore mode, the Uzi getting red dot sights, man. You guys you're killing it right now. And we're going to get into some things about future updates later on in this interview, but right now you guys are crushing it, man. GG's to the dev team with what they're doing right now. It's amazing.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. All I have to say about future updates, well, one thing I could say is 1894 is a great year.
Well, most people that follow the PC know what that means. Hey, I can't wait because, honestly, that gun is useless to me most of the time. But if it has a sight on it, it will become less useless. So and it's a powerful weapon typically, but I just never pick it up because of the lack of sights. So there you go. Now, question about updates and things. Do you guys ever see payload going away, or is it here to stay? And if not, if you do away with it, will you put helicopters in classic mode?
So classic mode doesn't have helicopters.
Not right now. Not currently.
There is a future where I guess that could happen. I mean, never say never, because the second you say never, fate decides to make you look like an a-hole.
Right.
But there is no thought about putting helicopters in classic mode. We want classic mode to be classic.
I got you. Well, I mean, the thing is, if you do away with payload, and the thing is, people think helicopters, you need rocket launchers to take them down, but you really don't, man. A 249 or a squad of ARs will take a helicopter down pretty quickly.
And if they're not moving, you don't even. I mean, any sort of DMR, I'll just
tear
people up.
Right. So and that's why I said, like, I just love flying. I love payload mode. Sometimes it interferes with my ranking, and now you got hardcore now. So, like, dude, I think I'm like diamond right now because I've been playing so much of those modes and not ranking. So that part, that's why I say that.
I totally hear you. There's no thoughts, as far as I'm aware, of putting payload mode on a break, right?
Okay.
Now, the thing we have to keep in mind is there's a lot of modes to PUBG Mobile.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
We've done a lot of different stuff. There's people who like every different mode. The mode that you hate,
Right.
whatever it is, somebody likes, right? And so, we do have to figure out some sort of rotation so that we can provide all these different experiences for different people, especially, behind the scenes, there's work going in to make it up. We may have another mode coming out in a couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's a mention of it in the patch notes, that it was coming later. But we are trying to give the opportunity for these different game modes to just change things up.
I love it. I love it, man.
Make it a little different.
The payload mode too. I find that the thing I like about payload the most is people play much more aggressively. And I like that. It's like, come fight me. That's the way I am. Come on, where you going? Let's go, and let's see who wins. And that's kind of the way I like to play. And that's what kind of got me hooked on, especially last season, man. I'm telling you, bro, I knocked down some payload games last season. This season, I've been playing hardcore a lot more.
But I mean, especially as a content creator, I mean, those make the best clips.
Right.
You hide into the grass for 20 minutes. Playing real smart. Working the edges of the zone. Occasionally taking shots off if it's a bad engagement, breaking up. That's not good content.
No. No.
Again, that's the way I play. Is trying to play as smart as possible. Only take fights when I'm going to win them.
Right.
Right. Because for me, that's the best way I'm going to succeed.
Right.
But I totally understand the flip side of it, which is the love of that adrenaline rush.
I love it, man.
And it's cool. Again, what can we do? What sort of modes will support that? Payload mode works well. I think hardcore mode. For me, the adrenaline in hardcore mode, because it's a lot harder. You have to pay a lot more attention.
Agreed.
I was watching this video by Savu. I don't know if he's released it yet. It was a sponsored video, and I do some of the approvals on those.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, he's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And he was just making people look silly in hardcore mode because they didn't have all the extra things to figure out what's going on. So, he's throwing down smokes and dancing around people, and they know that he's there somewhere. But, it was a ton of fun to watch.
Trolling.
Trolling, yeah.
Yep.
It is my first love. So, the adrenaline for me in that one is huge. And I can see why, as the kind of player you are, I watched more than a small amount of your content. I can see why you really dig it.
Yeah, and I dialed up my savagery recently, so I'm with you, amigo. I'm with you in my videos. But look, I'm gonna get moving on the next question because I got like 3 more pages of questions here, man. I'm grilling you. But here's the thing. And I'm just gonna talk about this subject very briefly, and I'm not gonna say a whole lot about it. If you wanna, like we're going to talk about hacking and why I say I'm not going to dwell on it much, because you've already talked about that with Bushka. You've already talked about that with Riggs Gaming. And my thing is, this question is about it, but it's not necessarily about, are you guys combating it? Because I know you are. You're working very hard to combat hacking. But my question is, with the recent update of the death cam, has it helped you more accurately identify hackers? And in doing so, has it lessened the amount of hacking, reports to you guys, or has it increased?
So I don't think it's either lessened or increased. I think it's made them more accurate. It's another tool for you guys to see what's going on.
Right.
Now, the number one hacking report is still, well, he seemed like he knew where I was. And it's just like, I've been guilty of this one too, where it's like, oh man, that guy just gunned me down out of nowhere,
Right.
And that was a crazy shot he hit. And it's like, oh, but I was doing something dumb, and of course he knew where I was.
Right. Well, anybody with a good set of headphones can hear you. I mean, when you get into a certain distance from the enemy, those are usually not the things that I look for. To me, it's like impossible shots. Obviously, if I'm in a building and I shouldn't be accessible to the outside and I get shot, obviously he's got a wall hack or something. That's the type of stuff that I look at. But you're right, and I was kind of hoping when you guys brought that in that it would kind of lessen the load of false reports to you guys. That's what I was kind of hoping.
So it helps, but again, the most common report we get, like by far, is, well, he knew where I was.
He knew where I was. Oh my God.
Smart players post up where they know people are going to come through.
Right.
They're going to watch the approaches.
Right.
And if they're playing smart, it's going to seem like they knew that they knew where you were.
Right.
Because they're playing smart. That isn't to say there are no people hacking. So I I do a lot of analysis of feedback. Like hardcore, database analysis about all the messages we receive.
Right.
And like a huge chunk of the negative messages that we get are hackers complaining about being banned.
I try not, honestly, I really try. That's something, if I report somebody, I really feel strongly that they're cheating. And my thing is, a lot of times before I hit that button, I would think about it, because there's times that my MS might be high or something in a fight, and something weird happens. But I did report a guy recently. He shot 2 of my teammates in a building when they weren't exposed. And then I had a battle with him later, and I hit him with at least 5 AK rounds. He had a UMP, and he killed me. And I was just like, how? So I did report him, and I just wanted him to be checked out. He could have been legit. I don't know. My players told me that they were not accessible, and he killed them. So that in our engagement, I got the jump on him, and man, an AK after 5 rounds, man, you're down. And he just lasered me, and I was like, So, and I didn't have, unfortunately, I didn't have the death cam enabled, so I wasn't able to watch the death replay. Because I was curious, because MS could have been the problem with me. Maybe I really didn't shoot 5 times. On my screen I did, but maybe on his screen I just started shooting. So I didn't get to watch the death replay, and that part kind of sucked. But anyway, we'll move on from that, Ocho. I didn't want to linger on that. I just wanted to kind of.
No worries. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you exactly how we're going to do it. But in the nearest future, and remember, near future for me is not this week or next week. Nearest future, we are going to be giving you a lot more data about what you did in game, right? We're going to give people more insight into what they did. I think we're all interested. I want to know, where did I hit somebody? How many times did I hit people in the arm?
Okay.
I'm a big stats nerd, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that helps me improve my gameplay when I look at my stats and I am able to see this stuff. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how we're going to be delivering this information, but it will be available to you all in the nearest future.
I like that. That sounds very similar to PC, right? They have something like that?
They have something like, they have some way of displaying that. We're maybe not exactly the same, but
right.
The same sort of idea.
Right. Cool. Well, moving on, and I like that. I like that a lot, actually. You'll probably find that mine's going to be center mass. I'll go for headshots with snipers, but typically with an assault rifle, I just go for the chest and move on. That's the biggest.
It's almost like you were trained that way.
Exactly. So now, remember when I was telling you we're going to hit up these communities? So basically, I just wrote a note here saying that PUBG Mobile has large communities, several on social platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and Facebook. Do you feel each of these communities have a different vibe or heartbeat, positive, negative, etc.?
Absolutely. Different communities have different interests. So let's take the orchestra video that we put out recently.
Right.
You see that one at all?
The orchestra video, no.
Yeah, it was like a classical version of the PUBG Mobile theme. It was one of those things where we had a full orchestra set up. We filmed them playing the PUBG Mobile theme. It was pretty cool.
Right.
Didn't
see it.
So
missed that one.
Facebook went ape for it. They were like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever."
Right.
Instagram was like, "Wow, this is pretty cool," and Twitter was like, "Yeah, we like it." So there were totally different reactions across these 3 platforms, right? When you talk about something like Reddit, Reddit is very much we want to play hardcore mode. We are only interested in the purest form of battle royale. If it's not in PC version, don't do it. That's really what that community is interested in, and it's a valid viewpoint.
Right.
But they are 120,000 subscribers out of 100 million people.
Right.
It is not their views are not representative of everyone who plays PUBG Mobile. It's representative of a certain viewpoint.
You know,
right?
on Reddit
And-
too, like Reddit is definitely a different community, and like you say, different heartbeats. But like I could post a clip of me squad wiping a team, and I'll get meh. But I could post me getting killed, but yet I dropped a dead body nade on a team, kill them, and they love it. Like I'm just like, huh? Like
it's totally different.
Right,
You know,
right.
what appeals to one group, what they're feeling about, what they're concerned about
right.
is very different, you know, especially on the more interactive platforms. So on Facebook and Instagram, you're hitting sort of the broad mass, right? You know, our Facebook has like 9 million something followers right now. So, you know, it's not at all, you know, niche. And they're mostly not talking to each other, right? You know, when you talk about something like Reddit or Twitter, people are talking to each other a lot.
Right.
Look, they're talking to us, and occasionally they talk to each other in the comments. So it's much less of a monolithic. Same thing with Instagram, much less of a monolithic viewpoint.
Right.
You know? So everyone does have different interests, different, you know, concerns, different ways of expressing themselves. And, you know, that's something we have to pay attention to, you know. So, you know, Aeolus, who's one of the community managers, who's on my
he's a Reddit guy, right? I remember that name.
He spends a lot of time on Reddit.
Right.
He's starting to be on watching videos on Twitch more and more. He does some of the responses on Twitter. You know, he is actually a big one who runs all the giveaways. So you won a payload mode contest a while back. So he was the one who came up with the exact idea, ran it, got you your prize, took care of it all.
Thank you, amigo.
So you know, he'll often come to me and he's like, man, people are complaining about this. And I'm like, who's complaining? Right? This is something we need to think about because we don't want any one viewpoint to completely dominate our feedback process because then we're ignoring a lot of other people.
Right.
You know, and this goes then because PUBG Mobile is a very international game all around the world, you know. So it might be that, you know, payload mode is super popular in the U.S., but it's not really popular in Uruguay. Right. Uruguay loves payload mode, by the way. You know, just an example. But, you know, so we have to take that into account, too, because we're not just serving people who speak one language. You know, we're making a game for everybody in the world. And so, you know, in different cultures, some costumes might be really popular and other costumes might not. But, you know, you go to someplace else in the world and that changes. You know, so it's really interesting, and it's one of those things we have to keep in mind when we're reading feedback on any one platform, because we all have our personal preferences.
Right.
Is that we might not be seeing everybody's feedback. We might just be seeing feedback from people who have similar preferences to us.
Right. Now, with that being said, Ocho, which is your favorite community and why? I put you on the spot, bro. I put you on the spot, man.
Making me pick between the babies.
I'm just saying, man. Everybody's got a preference. I mean, you know, everybody. I mean, each social platform has its own niche and own heartbeat, as you said. So you got to have a favorite.
You know, I like them for different reasons, right? You know, aside from the trolling on Twitter.
Good answer.
You know, it's being able to see into people's, you know, games on Twitch or YouTube is super awesome, you know? And seeing the creativity, especially on YouTube, because, you know, when you're streaming on, you know, Twitch, it's what you see is what you get, right?
Right.
You know, there's creativity involved, but on YouTube, when you talk about edited content, you know, you've done some really cool videos where you featured like popular memes and, you know, all sorts of pop culture stuff.
Savage.
Some very, very, you know, relatable brands. you know, that's creative. Like that's super awesome too, but in a different way than seeing somebody's live gameplay. So, you know, is one of them better than the other? Depends on what mood I'm in that day. You know, I love the long form feedback of Reddit, you know, because you can get into really deep, long, specific conversations on Reddit.
Right.
You know, and I love the sharing and the, you know, just sort of the whimsical nature of Twitter. You know, I mean, I do. For me, Instagram is really cool. People do all sorts of really creative visual stuff with PUBG Mobile. But there's just so much content. It's so hard to work through.
Right.
And so for me, that's one I personally struggle with. But I have some guys who are on my team who are really good with Instagram. And so, you know, we're trying to do some more exciting, cool stuff on that particular community to help bring it up. There's less personal interaction. And for me, personal interaction is like one of the really cool benefits of the job.
Right, right. And that's, I mean, for me, I can answer this question like immediately. It would be the Twitter community for me. And it's just because of the interaction. You know, and I know for you, man, you've got to be in tune with all the communities, but I just had to have fun with you and put you on the spot.
So Twitter was my last one to give up. You know?
Man.
It was, you know, I started off, I was literally flying solo, doing it all myself. That's obviously not supportable. So gradually we built up a team. And, you know, first off, I was like, well, Reddit really needs somebody who's going to spend a lot of time. Like, there's no other way to do Reddit. You have to be there reading, bonding day in and day out. So that was the first one I gave up, you know. Then I gave up Instagram. But there's cool new things that we're going to start to be trying to do, too. So, again, when travel restrictions are lifted, I want to start doing more live streaming.
Nice.
Live streaming from PUBG Mobile.
Wish I could.
I have a cool concept where, you know, we will be doing streaming, but we'll be inviting our creators who are out there, you know, and making awesome content to join us and participate. So,
would love it. Would love it.
That's something.
With that being said, let's segue into the next question. What is the PUBG VIP or the PUBGM VIP program?
So what it really comes down to is we want to support the people who are making great content that people like, right? You know, there's tons of people making PUBG Mobile content. You know, it's really hard to get noticed. Like, the amount of videos, there's thousands and thousands upon thousands of videos being released every day on, you know, YouTube alone for PUBG Mobile, right? So, you know, we wanted to create a program that helps people get noticed, to get their content out to bigger audiences, because we think that the larger communities will appreciate and enjoy the content, and we think the content is awesome, and we want to see, you know, it being shared widely, right? Because you can make the best video in the world. If nobody sees it, then it doesn't do anybody any good, right? So we created this program, the PUBG Mobile VIP. The PUBG Mobile VIP program is focused on people who speak English. Other languages will have other programs, other ways of working with influencers, right?
Right.
So I don't know the name of the program for Hindi speakers, but I know the person who runs it. She's absolutely fantastic, really smart, really nice lady. You know, so for English speakers, primarily in North America, Oceania, Britain, but we do have a few members from like Germany or the Nordic countries. We have somebody living in Estonia who creates content in English. So that's most interesting to our global channels because our global channels are English-based.
Right.
Right. So we have this program, and basically the goal is to give influencers who are creating this sorts of content more opportunities to be seen and more opportunities to work directly with, you know. So, you know, that's the goal. There's, I think, like 60 members now. It's growing.
Right.
You know, and there's lots of ways that we can notice you. You know, so if I happen to see your content.
That's my next question. What do you look for a potential VIP? What is it you're looking for?
So I'm looking for people who love what they're doing and who are doing something that people want to look at, right? I mean, you know, those to me are the two most things. Like, it's cool. I get it. Some people just become influencers because it's a business and they want to make money.
Right.
It's a really hard way to make money. I know know.
That's not what I do for money. To me, I make content just for passion. It's something I'm passionate about, and I love it. I think if you're going into it for that, it's the wrong reason. I think if that happens along the way, then so be it. But don't.
God bless the people who do.
Don't hold your breath though. I mean, just you better love it, man, when you go into it, and don't expect anything.
I was talking to a young kid, one of my coworkers' children. He's interested in becoming an influencer, and I'm like, cool. So plan on not making any money for 2 years if you're lucky.
Minimum, yeah.
Like, no money. Like, that is your time to spend working 10 hours a day, making no money, and hopefully getting really good at it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to tell you, that's facts. You know, it took me a while to kind of improve my craft. And I think right now I'm probably about the best I'm going to be as far as where my budget is right now. Obviously, if things were to happen and I grew, I could afford to kind of change things and I guess up my quality or production value. But right now, I'm probably about the best I've ever been when I started. So,
you know, don't talk yourself down. Same thing you said to me earlier, because I see you and you're out there, you're trying new stuff.
Right.
You're experimenting. You're not just putting out the same content over and over again.
Yep.
Which is viable. Like, you know, I will never get tired of watching amazing PUBG Mobile clips, right? Like, that is a niche, you know, that people have and do very well in. Like, they just have crazy amazing clips, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Every clip is just crazier than the last, right? But you're trying to do more stuff. Like, you know, you're interviewing me. You interviewed Powerbang. You know, you did that stuff that I was talking about earlier, where you're mixing in pop culture and you know movies that people dig. You know, so don't sell yourself short, man. You're growing every day as a creator, right? And that is an important thing. You know, not to get complacent, not to just do the same thing over and over again.
True.
You know, but to keep growing. So much respect to you on that.
Thank you.
But back to your question, what do we look for? So we look for people who are passionate about it, right? Even if you're doing it for a living, we want to help you. I mean, cool, whatever. You know, you want to do this for a job and you're passionate about it, great. Let's help you out. We're looking for small to mid-sized people. You know, small to mid-sized people, you know, ideally, I mean, I'm not going to say this is a hard number, but this is a good count. We want, you know, have at least a couple thousand people who enjoy what you're doing. That indicates to us that, you know, more people are likely to be interested. Now, if we see you and you're doing amazing stuff and you're smaller than that, great. Let's help you get there, right? Maybe we'll put you in the VIP program. Maybe we won't put you in the VIP program right away. But, you know, let's help you get there either way because you're doing awesome stuff. You know, so, you know, it's not a hard rule or anything, but that's just a good way to, you know, to have a rule of thumb. Are people paying attention to what this person is doing?
Right.
And that's a whole, like, discipline unto itself. How do you get people to follow? How do you get people to, you know, come back and watch again? Like, I mean, this is something you and I have talked about on a number of occasions.
Right.
You know, but then what we do is, you know, we'll reach out. Now, this is if we've seen you. Now, other members of the VIP program frequently suggest people. They're like, hey, you should go check out this guy. You know, he's doing awesome stuff. You know, there's that. There's, you know, God bless, every so often somebody just randomly tweets at PUBG Mobile, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to check it out and watch this video. Now, the hard thing about that is, you know, if a video is 10 minutes long, that's a pretty big investment on my part. You know, spending 10 minutes to watch somebody's video who I know nothing about is hard, but, you know, I mean, it happens. You know, that is how we have found some of our VIP programs. Like, oh, okay.
I know this. The thing that got me in, Ocho, and I actually got in before the term VIP program. You know, I was in the first, I guess, program, and then we just transferred over. But my Real Guns of Pubg Mobile video was kind of the one thing that that made them take a look at me at the time. And guys, by the way, shameless plug, that video is still rolling. It's on my first page of my channel. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
I'm going to point it up into the air, and hopefully you'll put that magic link there.
So with that being said, let's move on, Ocho. Let's go back to like all this stuff that's coming in. Like when you kind of said something about the hit places, the being able to see that coming soon. That led me to think about in PUBG PC, you're able to replay a certain amount of the game, if not all the game. I'm not really sure how that works. I'm not on PUBG PC, but I watch other creators that are doing PC stuff, you know, Wacky Jackie, Choco Taco, these guys, you know, and they're able to go to their enemies' viewpoint, and Ben Joy, you know, him too, because I love troll videos, but like they take their kills perspective, you know, and use that in their videos. And I think as a content creator, that would be great. I don't know how possible that is for mobile, or you know, I know it would only be really something for creators, but it would be a great tool if we.
That is freaking awesome. Totally get that.
It would change the game for content, in my opinion, for mobile.
So years ago, I worked on this game called City of Heroes. Like,
right.
I mean, we're talking 2008.
Right.
Right. And this game literally let you record the movement of every character in an area, and you could just get it out into a file, and then you could like switch models and assign new paths and everything. And like, so not only could you take the footage, you could actually like modify it and then play it back, and it would just show you that broadcast from any perspective you wanted. You could even free cam it.
Wow.
Right. It was amazing. And this was like 2008. Like, I can't believe that this is not more common since then, but it's actually really hard to develop.
Right.
So the challenges here are, again, devices, right? So on a PC, it's a lot easier to do these sorts of things.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
You know, this is not what phones excel at, right?
True.
I mean, it's storing huge amounts of data. I mean, when you talk about the data on the server side, there's a lot of games getting played. I mean, I cannot express to you how many games. If you go and look at the numbers, you know, we have that, I think it's still, it should still be visible. The, like the number of, you know, matches that were played or something like that in for the anniversary. Like, those are some crazy big numbers. I was like, I was looking at the number and I'm like, I'm trying to parse this into like, okay, I could write it out and put commas in, and that's, I don't know how to say this number. Like, you know, there's a lot of PUBG Mobile going on. So for us to be able to like even serve up that data, like, so we have the ban functionality in game you can go look at, and that data gets archived all the time. We still have all the data, but it's not immediately accessible because literally our servers can't handle throwing that much data around.
No doubt.
Not our game servers, but the servers that handle displaying that data in game, right? To make those servers work well, because it's constantly, you know, new data is coming in, we have to archive data so that it can be displayed.
Nice.
Right? So when you talk about like being able to look through games, you know, the first solution is, well, have your device record it, and then your device can handle it.
But yeah, but it's only recording from your standpoint or your perspective.
Now,
but
we could go back and play any game. We could literally do exactly what you're talking about. But from a server perspective, that's another challenge altogether. Like, we could build a server solution. We could watch any game. But that's really, really complicated and really hard given the amount of data we're talking about.
Right.
I mean, like, crazy amounts of data.
And then that would be like, I guess, you know, your the update would be more memory usage on your phone, and that, I'm sure that is something you guys think about every update. That's something I wanted to talk about as well too, was that, do you ever fear that the game will reach a point that it's just too big for most phones? Now obviously your new phones are going to be able to handle it, but I know you guys are always conscious about older cell phones, and trying to be able to keep, most of your player base still in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's no good for us to add an update and kick people out of the game.
Right.
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 That is flat out bad. So you cannot download packs. You're not going to have all the fancy costumes, but you're still going to be able to play the game 100%. Right.
Right.
So that's one way we sort of work around this problem. Right. Let me tell you, the team is working hard. Every update, even more so right now. Like the next couple of updates are going to, from what I understand, because I haven't seen the patch notes yet.
Right.
Are going to have even extra more work put into making sure things are running on all sorts of devices.
Right. Older devices. Right. Right.
My classic story on this is in update 14, I think. I couldn't tell you exactly which update it was. Maybe it was update 13 or 12. I woke up the next morning and I had like 1,000 comments about how the game wouldn't run on their iPod anymore.
I seen that with Bushka, man. I started laughing immediately. I was like, because Bushka thought you were talking about iPad, right?
No.
I was just like, what? iPod? What is that? I mean, I know what it is, obviously, but I mean, I hadn't seen an iPod in years, dude. I mean,
oh yeah, no, but I mean, the last couple generations of iPods will run PUBG Mobile.
Right.
Now it's not going to be the experience you want. It's not going to be like running it on a flagship phone from, say, Vivo or OnePlus, because I partnered with them and God bless them. They've done good things for PUBG Mobile. I'm going to do good things for them.
Absolutely.
But for any of our other partners or any of the cool phones, I mean, I mostly play on an iPad mini. It's not going to run the game quite as well, but you can't, and we do everything possible to keep you playing. Now, there is a version called PUBG Mobile Lite.
Right.
For even older devices. Or devices that are primarily sold in markets outside North America.
Now, do their servers work? Like, let's just say Erangel is on PUBG Lite, obviously. Did their client?
Erangel is not on PUBG Lite. They have a very similar map called. Oh, it starts with a V. I just totally blanked on it, which is terrible. Wow. I'm a bad person.
It's out. Vikendi? Is it Vikendi?
No. It is a smaller version of Erangel.
Oh wow!
Right?
You know what though? Hey, that would be awesome in the regular game, man. I that's something I wanted to talk to you about too. Is like a close quarter mode where the maps are smaller, but you still got 100 people in it. I think you had we had that mini zone. I loved mini zone because it forced everybody to fight a lot faster. Those games moved a lot faster, and the intensity was there. And I kind of missed that.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what the usage was on it. Obviously, it wasn't good enough to stay around. But man, I love that. So
just it doesn't necessarily have to mean that usage is bad. It could just mean that we're taking it out for a while, putting something else cool in, like say payload mode. And then later on, we'll make another switch and put mini zone back in and put something else cool in. And at some point, something does have to come out. Right? I mean, that's just the reality of it, is you can't have a billion different modes in the same game because we want to make sure that games are firing off as quick as possible. Right.
And I mean, there was, I'm telling you what, there was a lot of love for Mini Zone with some creators. I think PUBG Panda or whatever, I think he played probably 99% that game mode because it put him, in the kill zone and he could get those big kill totals. But I loved it for that too. But you guys, like I said, you guys are doing great. With that being said, is hardcore mode here to stay, or is it going to be kind of passing through?
Classic mode is here to stay.
I love that answer. I love that answer, man.
Right.
Perfect.
People are digging hardcore mode right now. I'm seeing tons of great content coming from it. But it is not the core game. The core game is classic.
Agreed.
Now, do I think that hardcore mode is popular? Yeah, I think it's doing well. People are enjoying it.
Right.
But again, even if things are doing well, we just need to keep things fresh. We need to switch it up every so often.
And you guys do a great job at that. You do a great job at that, man.
Hardcore Mode was here. It took a vacation. It had a nice little break. Spent some time in Mexico. There's a bad relationship, broke up, but all better now. And now Hardcore Mode, and it might take a sabbatical again at some point in the future. But that's the beautiful thing is
right.
We can have different experiences and try Hardcore Mode for a while, and then offer something else for a while, and then something else for a while, and then maybe it comes back.
I like that. I like that though, man. I mean, it's kind of like, here you can have it, tease you a little bit. I gotta take it back. You can't have it anymore, and then that makes people want it that much more. So it's actually smart, and I never really thought of it that way. But I love it. My thing is. The only thing I hate about Hardcore Mode is opening doors. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Opening doors. That's the worst thing ever. But other than that, I love it.
If you think about when I started working on Pubg Mobile, it was right around the door issue.
Okay.
So I do not understand people's desire to open doors.
I hate it, bro. I hate it. That is the worst thing. I hate it. But hey, speaking of like changes and stuff, man, Hardcore Mode, all that. The FPP button that you added, I love that. On the last update, you guys added that button, and did you do that to make it easier for first-person players to play TPP, or did you guys do that to make it easier for TPP players to play FPP, or what was the thought on that? Like, what made that happen? What was the catalyst?
People ask for it a lot. I mean, like, people are like, hey, can we have this button? We'd really like this button. What we'd really like? This button. I think there's lots of potential uses. I think all the ones you mentioned are great. One of the things I hear from the FPP community a lot is that we should do more to support them. And I am absolutely happy to do everything I can to support them promoting their preferred style of play. Because for the majority of players in PUBG Mobile, they prefer a third person. Right,
I do too. But I did push.
We make it options. We provided everything's there. The people have largely spoken and said, you know what? We really dig this third person perspective. I personally prefer third person.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But now look, I've been tapping this FPV button some. The thing that when I use it, and I'm just going to be frank, I use it anytime there's smoke. And I think you know why? Because in FPP the smoke is less effective. So when I'm going into a smoke cloud, I pop the FPP button. I'm like, where is he at?
That may not be true forever. Just go.
I hope so. I hope so. I do. But I love it though. I love that innovation and that was a great idea.
Yeah. So people ask for it, and one of the things I think people don't get is the amount of lead time, right? Mm-hmm. So the next update is planned. The update after that is pretty planned.
Right.
So it's those resources are already booked. When you think about like engineering time, designer time, artist time, those are already assigned, right? So it's really unlikely that we see an idea right now and we're like, oh, cool, it's coming in a month, right?
Right.
So the perfect example of this is colorblind mode, right?
Right.
So we've been planning on doing colorblind mode since last July or August, right? It just was, how can we do it? Let's scope out the work. Oh, we think we should do more than we'd initially planned. That's going to push it back some updates, right? And so it's, the button for TPP to FPP isn't complicated. The work's been booked. We've been planning on it for a while. It just takes a while for it to make it from our idea board into the game. There's all sorts of resources that have to be considered. I mean, everything has to be QA, and you can't introduce too many changes at once. You have to space them out. So it's it's one of those things where we had been wanting to do this for a while. We got it in. It's really cool. And I think it has opened up some people's eyes to the potential for first-person play. And it's allowed some people who really only enjoy the game in first person to get much faster match times. Because
Agreed.
if you are like, a high-ranked, Conk plus first-person player match player, it takes a while to get a match.
Been there. Been
Yeah,
there.
it's rough because people just aren't lining up to play those games.
No.
And so for the people who really, really only want to play that way, now they can play, get great times. They're just not going to have the advantage that everybody else is stuck playing FPV.
Right. Well, it's going to be much harder, obviously, to play it primarily FPP and TPP. But like you said, you can play that way, and you can get games a lot quicker. However, being able to transition from one to the other is the ideal situation. So I think whenever you're doing a push, it's like several of my buddies when we're pushing a squad, they go straight to FPP on the push. Because they feel like it gives them a better perspective for those close quarter engagements. Usually I keep it TPP unless I'm dealing with certain situations, and like I said, smoke was one of them. But I still prefer TPP though. But I pushed Conqueror in season 8 in FPP just to challenge myself. I don't normally really push. I usually end up around ace or so, just not even really trying. But the thing is, like, I hot drop constantly, so to me that's not necessarily what I do. Is primarily push rank, but I did that season, and I'll tell you, I played after I got past ace. I started playing more like you, amigo. Trust me. There was a short period of a drought of content, because this guy was cold dropping. I mean, Severny, Gatka. I mean, these places like that I would never drop. But you
want to hear bad?
What's
so
that?
On Sandhawk, up at Camp Alpha, right? Up on the far left,
right,
top left corner. There's a little village, like 4 huts, like right south of it. That's where I drop.
Oh, wow. So you heard it here, guys.
Like, not only am I back in the hinterland, I'm not even dropping it like the good loot spot. I'm dropping it where I can get some loot and be ready for my first engagement, where I expect there will be 0 other people.
Oh, man.
That's how I play.
When you play, do you play solo versus solo, or do you do solo duo, or solo versus duos, or solo squads?
I do rando squads.
So
I queue up and I get 3 random teammates.
You are a champ, bro. You are a champ. I can't do it for the most part, man. I'm telling you, bro. Like,
so think of it this way, right? You have a group of friends you play with in game, right?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
You know about them? Could you tell me what they do for a living?
No.
Okay.
Not most of them. Well, some of them are content creators, obviously, but. Yeah, not there. There's a few I do know, but I mean, for the most part, like every one of them, no. But I know a few.
No. But I mean, like, your core group in game, you know about their lives. I mean, 'cause it's not just all talking about PUBG Mobile. It's
right.
When I play the game, that's not an option for me.
Right.
I can't talk about my life because if people find out who I am, they interact with me differently, and I'm not experiencing the game the same way you are.
Oh, no, they're going to start complaining. Get off this game and go fix something,
Right? Yeah. I'm like, let me tweet that bug away.
Wow, man.
But, so it's important for me to experience the game like a normal player. And so the best way for me to do that is to play in a slightly abnormal way, which is the randoms. Right? So I have probably like 4 people on my friends list who know who I am.
Ah, cool.
I have a different name. In every single one of those cases, it was because I needed to for work. Like Bushka knows who my character.
Right.
Because I played in game Bushka. He had to have my UID.
Right, and that was pretty interesting, by the way. That whole interview. Now I couldn't have done that, man. I Like we couldn't have played the game. I'd have been way too distracted, dude. It would have been terrible. But
so he does it all the time. I mean,
right.
You've met Bushka in real life.
Oh,
Man
yeah.
never stops talking.
Yeah.
It was terrible being together because, I also have the same problem.
Me too. Me too.
You
Matter
know,
of fact,
but,
I played with Bushy a couple days ago, man. We had a blast. I got a couple of videos.
I actually saw a clip of that. I saw you get knocked.
Yeah.
But
Indeed.
what do you call it? So, he just talks and plays and talks at the same time, no problem. He doesn't even think about it.
Right.
I'm not used to that. I'm sitting there I'm nervous because my gameplay is getting recorded, and I'm again not the most hardcore gun player, and we're playing Bushka style, which means it's full send all the time.
Absolutely. That's why we play so good together, man. It's amazing when we get together.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there trying to talk, trying to play at the same time. So after a while, we did the two parts mostly separate.
Right. He took you out of your comfort zone. He took you out of your comfort zone. But with that being said, now we'll get back to the subject, and I'm getting towards the end of my questioning. But future updates. Obviously, I've been watching the PC footage of several creators. And I think the mobile version. I know we got Sandhawk first, I believe, but most of the time the PC version gets their maps first, and then we kind of we get ours. But I know a Wrangle 2.0 is in the works for the mobile version. Are we going to see those other two maps on the PC version? And when I say that, I mean Clericdragoon and Vikendi 2.0. And by the way, I am ecstatic about the Vikendi 2.0 map. I want to see Clericdragoon as well because I like Miramar. I like sniping. I think that map's going to play towards that type of, but it's much smaller, obviously. But it's going to go towards that play style. But Vikendi 2.0 just really caught my attention. That train is sick, bro. I don't know. And it's got gliders too. Are we getting gliders? I mean, can you share any of this information? So,
this is a sort of a complicated one, right?
You can't break NDA, guys. That's Ocho is governed by that, right?
Bluehole is a company that makes Pubg.
Right.
They own Pubg.
Right.
We worked very closely with them. We licensed their IP to make our game, which is Pubg Mobile.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So we work together. We work really closely. Nothing that goes into Pubg Mobile has not been seen by Bluehole.
Right.
Because it's their IP, right? But that doesn't mean we necessarily do exactly the same things.
Okay.
But we also know what you guys like, right? You want to see new maps. You want to see new places to play. You want to say changes to existing maps. And Aaron Girl might not be the first one of those. Just saying. Although Aaron Gale 2.0 is coming,
yes.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel on that one. We got a ways to go still, because none of these maps were made to be played on phone.
Right.
Right. So if I were building a game for the phone first, I'm like, hey, I'm going to make a game for a phone, right? I'm going to make it designed specifically for the technical capabilities of the types of phones I want the game to play on.
Right.
Right. In this case, we're actually having to work in the opposite direction. Something which was specifically not designed to be on a phone. How do we make it work and look and feel and play right on phone?
Right.
So this is not necessarily uncomplicated, but we've got a lot of map-related stuff we're looking at, both for existing maps and maybe other maps. Some of which might be on PC. Which isn't.
I like that sound, bro. Other maps. I like that. Keeping things fresh, like you said earlier, is important, and I think you guys are doing a good job of that. Reworking the old maps is a great idea because it does give a fresh look, a fresh feel, and especially now I don't know about Wrangle 2.0 per se because I haven't looked at it as much. It was just like But like the changes to Vikendi, I think you did a lot. I think, or as far as the PC version, they did a lot of, I guess, geographical changes, like adding, berms and hills and valleys and things like that. They changed complete sites. Like they took Abbey away from where Abbey is on it, and they added it to Mount Kresnik. They made Abbey at Mount Kresnik. So I mean, they changed that map wholesale basically, and of course the less frozen look or whatever. I'm into that one, dude. I've been watching those videos hardcore. Wacky Jackie's got me on those.
So, I mean, there's lots of cool stuff. Again, it's all about prioritization and balancing what we want to adapt from the PC and console versions to PUBG Mobile, and at the same time making sure we're doing stuff that is really specifically designed for you.
Right, and you guys don't have to follow, like you said, you don't have to follow in the footsteps of the PC version, obviously. But yeah. I'm sure there's rules and regs with your agreement with Bluehole. But I mean, new maps entirely that are designed specifically for mobile would probably be more fortuitous for you guys anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, people have expectations. They see cool shiny, they want cool shiny. So, we have to balance all this, and right. It's great to be working with a great partner who makes a great game.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, you guys know my backstory. This game grabbed a hold of me and hooked me immediately. I was playing a game called Clash of Clans. I was, had been playing that for 5 years. Built my channel up on it, and as soon, the first day that I played PUBG Mobile, I started like having trouble making that content because just as you said, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, and if you don't have that passion, it makes it hard to do. So sure. I became disenfranchised with doing that content, and I wanted to play PUBG Mobile. So you guys made a hell of a game, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I kid you not. I think that the team that works on PUBG Mobile is, without a doubt, one of the best mobile development teams in the industry, bar none. Like, I mean, the things they can make phones do is ridiculous.
I agree.
And I'm super, super stoked to be able to work with really talented developers. Because, again, as a professional, that hasn't always been my experience. So, not to bag on any of the previous companies I've worked at or the previous teams I've worked with, but some of them weren't as talented.
Yeah, I got to say, that is a fact what you're talking about as far as their talent, man. These guys are amazing. I'm blown away each and every update. Absolutely loving what you guys are doing, the direction you're going. Love the back projects with the VIP and the stories. I mean, you guys just really have a good way of thinking about things, and a very awesome staff. You included, obviously.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm pretty proud of the company I work for.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good.
They're good people. So I'm from the U.S. People here don't know Tencent as well. You know what I'm saying? But Tencent's a great company with a great reputation. They have a real focus on their players.
Agreed.
And so, it makes it a lot easier being a community guy when, the mantra is players first. So, it's pretty awesome. Right. Pretty humbling.
So with that being said, Ocho, thank you so much for coming and talking to me. I hope you guys watching this video right now have learned a lot more about our community manager for PUBG Mobile, Mr. Ocho here. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time to talk to me. And as I know in Bushka's video, a lot of times you're taking your personal time. You're not necessarily on the clock during these interviews. So I thank you for taking your time and spending with us in this video. And I grilled you, man. I grilled you hard, man. I apologize if it was rough, man. I just had a lot of questions, man. I had a lot of questions.
Hey, it was great talking to you, man. It's always a pleasure. It's you are one of the people I talk about. When people ask me, like, why is the PUBG Mobile community great? I'm like, well, you need to meet this guy, Clericdragoon. We all call him Goon, but he's really one of the nicest, most genuine people. So, thank you for having me on. It's been a real pleasure talking, and I appreciate it.
And with that being said, guys, tune in for the next interview, amigos. And with that being said, we're out of here. Hit that button. Watch these videos. That's all.